I would think this is a place for someone to learn new things.
Alex Eala breaks the internet after an exposed meeting that shocked the entire tennis world. Nobody expected the truth behind that closed-door conversation to surface. Nobody imagined that a single meeting would trigger a storm of reactions, jealousy, admiration, and fear. But once the footage leaked, it didn't just change the conversation. It changed the entire perception of who Alex Eala was becoming. Before the internet exploded, before the tennis world splintered into chaos, Alex Eala was already standing at the edge of something extraordinary. The young Filipina star had spent years building a foundation of discipline, resilience, and quiet hunger. And people inside the sport knew it was only a matter of time before she broke into the global spotlight. But nobody knew how sudden her rise would be, or how much it would unsettle others. Her training sessions were intense, her mentality sharper than ever. Every week, new footage circulated online, her footwork improving, her forehand exploding with power, her calm turning into a dangerous, calculated confidence. Fans saw growth, analysts saw maturity, opponents saw a warning. And coaches saw potential that could rewrite the next decade of women's tennis. Still, no one expected what happened next. Because behind the cheers and trophies, something quiet was happening. A shift, a whisper that a top-tier international coach, someone known for shaping champions, had taken interest in Eala. At first it sounded like a rumor, a playful conversation that happened at tournaments all the time. But then, the truth slipped out. A meeting had taken place, a private, off-the-record meeting that wasn't supposed to reach the public. A meeting that, if confirmed, could ignite envy, speculation, and tension within the WTA. And when the first clues leaked, a blurred photo, a familiar silhouette, a brief smile exchanged across a hallway, social media erupted. Fans demanded answers, reporters chased angles, and rival camps, they panicked. Because if Alex Eala really sat down with that coach, everything in women's tennis could change. Her rise was no longer just a rise. It was a threat. But what really happened in that room? And why did the internet explode when the truth finally surfaced? It happened quietly. No cameras, no PR team, no formal announcement. Just a simple entry into a training facility, a closed door, and two people who understood that the next hour could redefine a career. Alex didn't walk in nervous. She walked in determined, aware of what was at stake, aware of the opportunity, aware that this coach didn't meet young players unless something about them demanded his attention. He was known for identifying champions before the world saw them. He was known for sculpting raw talent into world-class machines. And today, he wanted to meet Alex Eala. The conversation started simple. Her training regimen, her ambitions, her weaknesses, her strengths. But then the tone changed. His questions were sharper. His observations cut deeper. "Do you know how many players have your potential?" he asked her. "Not many, but potential means nothing if you don't choose the right path." What that meant, nobody outside that room knew. Not until the leak. It began with an anonymous account posting a blurry clip. Alex seated across the table, listening intently, the coach gesturing, serious but engaged. A notebook open, a contract-like sheet on the table. It was only 5 seconds long, but it was enough. Within minutes, the clip was everywhere. Comment sections exploded. Forum threads multiplied. Tennis insiders scrambled for interpretations. Was Alex switching coaches? Was she joining a new training team? Was she being recruited? Was there tension behind the scenes at her academy? Suddenly, the tennis world wasn't discussing match results, rankings, or stats. They were obsessed with this meeting. And then came the real spark, a former player, now analyst, saying, "If Alex is being courted by that coach, some top players should be worried." That single sentence set the internet on fire because it meant one thing. This wasn't a casual chat. It was a power move. But the real storm was still coming, and it would erupt the moment rival players reacted. Within hours, Alex Eala's name trended worldwide, not because of a win, not because of an interview, but because people believed she was stepping into territory reserved only for the elite, the tier of players who coaches fought to work with. Fans were divided instantly. One side celebrated, "She deserves this. Finally an Asian rising to the top. She's the future. This coach knows it." The other side felt threatened. "So now she gets special treatment? The favoritism is crazy. She hasn't earned this yet." And rivals? Their reactions were the loudest, not through words, but through silence. Several top players posted cryptic Instagram stories. A few unfollowed her. One posted a quote, "Some people climb ladders they didn't build." People connected the dots instantly. Was the jealousy real? Was the locker room already shifting? Even coaches chimed in. Anonymously, of course. One comment spread like wildfire. "If she joins that camp, certain players will lose their edge. Some are already unhappy." Suddenly, everyone needed answers. Reporters approached Alex after practice. Her team refused to comment. The mystery only fueled the drama. And then came the biggest leak of all. A transcription snippet from someone who claimed to have overheard part of the conversation inside that meeting. She doesn't even know how strong she can become. Whether real or fake, fans believed it because it fit the narrative. Alex wasn't being scouted for who she was. She was being scouted for who she could become. A threat, a rival, a rising force that could shake the rankings. The internet didn't just explode, it detonated. And in the chaos, one question echoed. If this meeting was real, what does it mean for the rest of women's tennis? Every rise creates shadows, and Alex Eala's sudden explosion into global attention brought out emotions that had been simmering quietly. Envy, insecurity, fear, and the sense that the balance of power was shifting. The backlash began subtly. A journalist wrote an opinion piece questioning her maturity. A former coach hinted she was being pushed too fast. A rival stars camp leaked that Alex was getting opportunities others earned first. None of them mentioned her name directly, but everyone knew who they meant. Then, an anonymous training partner claimed she was receiving additional privileges at certain facilities. Another player commented that some juniors skip steps and it never ends well. It didn't matter if these were accurate. The damage was emotional, not factual. And Alex felt it. During practice, whispers followed her. During warm-ups, certain players kept their distance. Even online, entire threads debated whether she deserved attention from a coach of that caliber. Some analysts pushed the narrative further. If she joins that coach's circle, rivalries will get personal. And suddenly, the story wasn't about a meeting. It was about the tension inside the WTA, a tension Alex never asked for, but now carried on her shoulders. As the backlash intensified, pressure mounted. Would she deny the meeting? Would she defend herself? Would she stay silent? Silence, as it turned out, was its own message. Fans waited. Opponents waited. Coaches waited. But Alex stayed focused, training harder, competing sharper, ignoring the noise. And for many, that silence was the loudest answer. Because silence from a rising star often means one thing. She's preparing for something bigger. After weeks of speculation, noise, and online warfare, the truth began to settle. Not because Alex explained it, but because those closest to the situation slowly revealed the real story. The meeting was real. The connection was real. But the narrative the internet created, that was only half the truth. The coach wasn't recruiting her away. He wasn't trying to claim her. He wasn't plotting a dramatic transfer. What he saw in Alex Eala was something simpler and much more powerful. Potential, attitude, a hunger he recognized from the greatest players he'd ever coached. He requested the meeting not to sign her, but to advise her, to tell her she was standing at the edge of greatness, to warn her that the next stage would test her spirit, to explain that the noise, envy, and pressure she was feeling were signs that the world finally realized her value. His message was clear. You're entering the phase where people will try to pull you down. Learn to walk through the fire without burning. It wasn't a contract. It wasn't a recruitment. It was guidance from someone who saw her future before she did. But the internet never wants calm. It wants conflict. So the truth, quiet, grounded, and sincere, couldn't compete with the chaos. Still, Alex understood why the meeting mattered. It wasn't about being exposed. It wasn't about breaking the internet. It was about being recognized. Not as a rising junior, not as a hopeful, but as a legitimate contender. A future force. A player top coaches watched carefully. A player the tennis world could no longer ignore. When the noise finally faded, one truth remained. Alex Eala had stepped into a new stage of her journey. A stage where attention comes with pressure, where praise comes with criticism, where success comes with jealousy. But also a stage where great coaches see her, great players fear her, and a nation believes in her. The meeting may have been exposed, but its impact went deeper than viral clips or trending hashtags. It marked the moment the tennis world acknowledged her not as a promising athlete, but as a rising power. She didn't deny the meeting because there was nothing to deny. She didn't feed the drama because the drama never mattered. Instead, she did what champions do. She trained harder. She stayed focused. She let her results speak for her. And the world listened. Because the real story wasn't the leak. It wasn't the clip. It wasn't the outrage. The real story was this. A young talent was stepping into greatness, and everyone, fans, rivals, coaches, felt it happening in real time. Alex Eala didn't break the internet because of controversy. She broke it because her rise is undeniable and unstoppable. Will this be the moment that defines her journey? Or is it only the beginning of something far bigger?
Alex Eala's exposed meeting may have stirred chaos, but the truth behind it proves one thing. She is becoming a name the tennis world must take seriously. And if this is just the beginning, the future of women's tennis is about to get a lot more interesting. If you want more powerful stories, emotional rivalries, and behind-the-scenes truths from women's tennis, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and join the discussion below. Your voice is part of this journey.